All right. Hello, friends. Welcome to Music Nation Speaks with me, Joe, where I use this platform to chat and learn from people who are passionate in what they do from all walks of life. And today we have a very special episode. I cannot wait to dive into it. It's going to be a throwback down our childhood memory lane, everything, laughs, tears, I think, and personally, a quick not hopefully not a quick one, but a long therapy session for myself. All right, so before we get into today's guest, a bit of housekeeping to do as per usual. All right, so Music Nation is now offering a package of 12 sessions for singing and songwriting lessons. All right, so sessions will be done online and they'll be conducted by none other than yours truly. All right, so the cool thing about these sessions is that you can do them anytime at the comfort of your own home, and it doesn't have to be weekly. So if you want to sing or write 3 times a week, since MCO is being extended until the end of the month and you have nothing to do, yeah, that's fine too. So DM us on Instagram, Facebook, or send us an email to sign up today and get started on your music journey. All right. And our email is musicnationempire@gmail.com. Instagram is I forgot my own handle. Music Nation MY. Okay, so send us a DM and or write an email. And yeah. All right. So that's it for today's announcement. Very short. Let me bring up today's guest. And we have the one and only, the amazing, the ever evolving Joyce Ang.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes, I'm very happy to be doing this, evidently. Yeah. So, okay, just a disclaimer for everyone. Just be mindful of the volume because we cannot control our volumes. There will be times where we will laugh. Yes.
Like this.
Yes, there will be times that we'll laugh, and we are totally not liable if your speakers or your eardrums burst. Okay, so just sign your life away, sign your ears away,
Sign a waiver. For this podcast episode.
Yes. I mean, I looked at all the previous ones. Everyone's just really calm. Everyone's just really docile. And I can promise you that this is not going to be that.
Nah, because I don't think for the previous guests, I've I cannot English already. I haven't known them for almost 20 years. So this is, we go way back and we can go to different places with our topics as well. So it's going to be a wide range of things, but especially I think we were talking and catching up before this, we want to dive deeper into what growing up in Kuantan, what our childhood was like, and relearning some stuff that we had to is this serving me at this point, that kind of thing, and growing into our own womanhood, being millennial women in our late 20s now, that kind of thing. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just very, very happy to be here with you. Very thankful that you want to do this. And, you were saying just now, you were like, I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about this and blah, blah, blah. But I think there's no other person like you that I've met so far. And since young, you have always stood in your truth, and, you have shared more laughter. I've shared more laughter with you than anybody else, and I feel very, very happy and very grateful to be able to reconnect with you now, especially now this year. Yeah. So sorry, very
No
emotional
worries.
already.
No worries. I mean, I feel the same way because we've known each other. Oh, my hair. We've known each other since we were 8, and then I think our life's journey has just been pretty much parallel. Even though we have rather similar talents, we went to the same we were talking about before the show, right?
Yeah.
We went to the same music school.
Yes.
We went to the same competitions in primary school, even though we were in different schools. And then when it came to high school, we were in the same classes. And
For
then
5 years, was it?
for 5 years of being in the same class. And then we were basically all in the same
Yeah.
co-curricular activities.
Yeah.
And then we even went to the same Chinese tuition.
Yes.
Like, yes, being stuck in the jam in Kuantan at PM every Friday with you.
What was it? 4 o'clock every Friday? 4 to
No,
6 or something.
five.
Oh
I
my.
remember.
Yeah, and like I'm just I'm very curious. Before this, we already had like a in-person, meetup slash catch-up session, and that was it's so amazing to hear your story and how you've uh overcome. I would label it as conditioning, right? Like what you've been taught so far, what we were taught so far, growing up as in a small town, and being girls, how we're supposed to act, and then what to aspire to and what to expect, and then having to step into our own adult lives away from home, really having to figure things out by ourselves. I'm just very amazed at your story, and I want I would love for you to share your journey so far with us, right? So let's dial back a little bit to Kuantan, 2006 or 7, or even later
Earlier
than
than
that.
that, way earlier.
So if we were 8, what was the year?
When we were, if we were 2002.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. It's 19 years ago.
We've known each other for almost 20 years. Oh my
I know.
goodness.
I know. I'm old. We're old at 20.
It's okay. We still look good. It's all right.
Oh yes, girl. Glow up.
um, so from primary school until secondary school, right? Like, um, what were some of the challenges that you've faced so far, or what were some of the lessons that growing up you see other people doing the same things as you were, like for both of us, for example, we went to the same music school, and then we were in the same music class, and then we were in the same, like, what syarahan competition or 演讲比赛, that kind of thing, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
how was that like for you? Like, because for me, I remember music is a non-negotiable in my household. Like my parents, my mom would send us regardless if we like it or not, right? But for, like, all of these extracurricular activities, like public speaking, all of these things, like I remember it being a norm, and it was expected of me. And so, and I was just talking to my sister today, actually, and she was saying, we didn't really actually have like a proper childhood. It was mostly achievement based, goal based, and we live year by year. Okay, after this beside, after this competition is done, okay, let's prepare for the next one. And it was like that for me up until, like, maybe from 2 or from 3, when I finished my piano and violin exams, when I finished all of those competitions. And in high school, for me, it was just choir. And I remember, being very that was the only thing I cared about, and the people, my choir mates were the only people that I cared about, and that's it. So how was it like for you?
Um, for me, it definitely was a lot about achievement, but it was also a lot about comparison. So yeah, a lot about, like, okay, this is what you need to do. And then all throughout primary school, I've always been in the top class from the get go. So it's always been about, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Even I don't really remember much of my academics in my kindergarten years, but I remember in during my kindergarten years, it was always about I have to be the best during the year end concert. Like if it's a dance, I gotta do it. Like I gotta like shake it all out. I gotta show all my attitude out there for everyone because like I'm the star, you know.
Yeah.
And like I think for you and I, we are always it's very natural for us
Yeah.
to take the front stage, right?
Yeah. To put ourselves out there.
Yeah, and we're just very comfortable in front of cameras. So with that, and with the lack of awareness, at that time, like parents were like, "Oh, very cute," and then just like keep on putting
push.
in front of in front of everyone, just keep constantly pushing us into basically very public spaces. So like, although I thank God that I don't face the kind of pressure that kids in Hollywood do, but to a certain extent, I did kind of grow up in front of everyone, and like my parents were church leaders. My mom's a worship leader. My dad's a deacon, and yeah, they both are in the leadership of of a Sunday school that is held in my school. So basically, everyone knows me as like, oh, the Sunday school teacher's kids, or like, oh, this family is a Christian. That's why like they have to act a certain way, or like the most ridiculous one is like, yeah, Joyce's English is Joyce 的华语真是比较好，因为她是 Christian. I don't understand. And I think it's just always that. And then when it comes to home life, it was a lot like what I said, comparison. I was already comparing myself to my other friends, but I think unbeknownst to my mom, and because she was also trying to figure out how to do parenthood, right? Like we are both firstborns, we are all experimental children. Parents
Tell me about it.
I have no clue what to do. I'm gonna just do my best, and like, oh shit, I screwed up. Oh no. And like, and really props to my mom for like my mom and my dad for doing what they could at that time. And I think they were going through some really tough time on their own as well.
Yeah.
So like I've learned to not blame my parents because they were doing the best that they could.
Yeah.
And
if they knew better, they would have done better, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like, who wouldn't, right? I mean, like, who in their right mind that love their children would?
Yeah.
And so that's why like I kind of realized that a lot of those conditioning actually influenced how I behaved. So like throughout high school and like throughout my early adolescence, I actually had no clue what was going on. I just remember being very angry, very frustrated at myself. And also like one of the things that people compared me to is like in terms of like body image. So like I remember there were incidences in church where like those auntie will compare me to another person, another girl who basically like basically kind of like shame me for eating too much. I still remember the thing that they said was that we were at a mamak, we were eating roti canai. I still remember how it looks like, and then I don't really remember what transpired that led to that line, but I only remember the person saying that, Joyce, you see, like you're eating so much. Look at her; she's already she control how she eats. She stopped eating. That's why she's prettier than you. And I was 6.
How old were you?
I was 6. So like it's things like that adults that are not aware, and thankfully there is a lot more awareness now. That really kind of shaped how I viewed myself, how I viewed my work, my relationship with work, my relationship with failure, with achievements, with basically everyone else. So one of the most recent thing that I had to work on was to not view as another person that is my peer as a competitor. So like so it's small things like that eventually snowball into something that's unhealthy. So like I've also learned to see that, if another person is acting in a very toxic way, I learn to give more grace, more compassion, because like I don't know what brought the person to that place. Because like naturally, like it definitely does not feel good being in that space. The discomfort, the internal discomfort, if the pain is real, right? So what I meant to say was that, those small things that that happened in my childhood eventually grew up slowly into like this monster of insecurity that enshrouds me that I had to
Mm,
find my way out of.
yeah. I completely relate. Sorry?
What about you? What about you?
Oh, I mean, I was about to say, like, I completely what you're saying, what you said completely resonated with me, because like since young I've always been known as, the chubby kid. And I grew up with a few friends who were a year or two older than me, and I've always felt that because they were first, or they were skinnier, a lot skinnier, and they were more athletic, and they were more, they had more talent, and um, they were chosen first, and then it was me. I was always the second choice. Even in Nian Jampi, there were a few instances where I remember teachers telling my mom, and then my mom told me, like, actually the teacher 她不要选你的, she didn't want to pick you. You were not the first choice. And then after they couldn't make it, then it's only your turn. It's a lot of this, like you're not the best, so therefore you are the consolation prize, right? So that for me subconsciously, and yeah, so that for me subconsciously made me feel like I had to work extra hard for me to feel seen, for me to feel heard, and for me to be chosen uh as a child, and also now as an adult. And that transpired into how, in my music career, in my relationships, um in my what was it yeah, in every aspect of my life. And with the comparison thing, our moms, if they knew better, they would have done better. And subconsciously for them, maybe they meant it as words of encouragement. Hey, see what the other kid is doing. Look at your friend. Like they're doing a lot better. They have better grades. They have more achievements. More 奖杯, more trophies, whatever those things are. And for me, it was like, I remember feeling very rebellious as a child. When I first heard it, I was like, okay, no big deal. Yeah, I do want to be like them. But as I was growing up, growing into my teenage years, I remember telling my mom, if you like her so much, then you adopt her as your child. Lah. You don't need me anymore, And that was me being my I didn't know how to take it, because we were what, 13 or 14 years old, right? Trying to figure it out. So from there, I think a lot of resentment, a lot of uh, um, the fear of being abandoned, the fear of not being chosen, and also body image, right? Like I would say, like we're not the skinniest girls out there, and that is the stereotype when we were growing up, isn't it? And I think now, it took a very, very long time for me to accept my body, and then work through the changes, and starting from a healthier starting point, instead of like oh, I need to look good, instead of I need to feel good. So
Yeah.
that took a lot of rewiring of the brain.
Yes, yes. And I used to, okay, so just to dive deeper into the whole body
Yes,
image thing,
please.
right?
Yeah.
So for the longest time I cannot look at myself in the mirror.
Oh, really?
Every time, yeah, I cannot. Like every time I look into the mirror, all I see were flaws. Like I would see how like I don't know how, but like my brain would somehow like slow down and zoom into where it jiggles and like where it's a bit more bulgy. And like and oh yeah, and another thing that I was always very conscious about is my ribs, because there was one particular Sunday school teacher that actually said something a lot like we were doing like we were doing the story of Adam and Eve, and we were talking about like ribs, like we're just like, oh yeah, so what's ribs? And then they were showing it.
排骨.
Yeah, paiku, correct. And 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 um and the teacher actually said like, yeah, Joyce, maybe you cannot feel lah, maybe if you're skinnier you can. So So like I've always felt like I have to see like something that I have
That
to
is your
see my
standard.
correct. I have to see my ribs. So like I mean like, obviously you cannot lah, right? I mean
Yeah.
like something is damn wrong. Okay. It's like that's why like it's something that I really, really struggled with. Lah. So like
Mm.
and my relationship with food hasn't always been the healthiest.
Mm.
When I was younger, I would just stuff myself and then because like oh very cute like eat like very child like very good very this child I hope like 很会吃 you know like just like okay lah
Ah,
okay lah sayang give more lah and then there's also the other side where like you have to finish your food on the table whatever you put on the table you have to finish if not
yeah.
like some consequences has to happen and
Yeah.
I actually read somewhere by this psychologist that um that actually results in unhealthy relationship with food for a lot of people. A lot of like binge eating disorders, a lot of stress eating disorders actually stem from that. It's because like you're so stressed and you had to stuff yourself. So when your brain kind of wires itself like, okay, when I'm stressed, I have to stuff myself. And that is how I've been operating. Even up to this day. Whenever I'm I have to have a bag of chips or like a bag of like popcorn and
Oh.
if not I cannot function. So like that is like that is something that I'm working on. But conversely,
Yeah.
there was a period of time where I was very skinny. Like freshly after a very traumatic experience, I was very, very skinny and I remember being very proud of being able to see my bones.
Like
And
like ribs and like your
like not really my ribs and everything, but it's more of
uh-huh.
like I could see my veins on my arms. Like and I could see like the bulges of like my joints and things like that. And I was actually very happy being that way. Like I only ate a meal a day. I barely ate anything. All I did was drink water, drink alcohol, and like just eat as little as I can. And and
Yeah.
like we've all been there. I hope you haven't. If you're listening, I hope you haven't. It's
Yeah.
not a great place to be in. It's a very difficult place to come out of as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so so with this kind of things, it's like, and now I'm in a much healthier space, and I obviously I don't cope with over exercising anymore.
Let's talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
let me
'Cause
just
like
finish and then we
yeah,
can
yeah,
talk more
yeah.
about that. And then I start to have like obviously like I'll get a bit softer. My muscle definition is less, and it is something that I'm still struggling to this day. You know, like oh my face is a bit
Yeah.
rounder. You can't really see my jaw anymore. Like I have to like push my face forward in order to see my chin. If not, you'll see like you know, like I'll look like Jabba the Hutt with makeup.
With 3 layers. That's always been us growing up though.
Yeah, you know what? It has been. That's why I don't wear pinafore. Like screw pinafore, baju kurung for life.
All the way.
Baju kurung covers everything.
No shape, just one. Take it or leave it.
And like if you like you eat a bit too much, drink very hard, right? You can just pull it out and just like I got breathing space.
And just unbutton your shirt a little bit. Oh my god. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like yeah. So going back to coping with over exercising. So like this last year, like during MCO, and everything that most of the things that I'll be speaking about actually happened fairly recently. So like last year, MCO is very freaking traumatic for everyone, and like,
Terrified.
and
Yeah.
I didn't know
How
how
was
to do it.
yeah, actually how was MCO like for you?
This
From
MCO
last year
this
until
MCO is
now.
a huge improvement for me.
Yeah.
And actually at the start of MCO was when I kind of ended like a half relationship. So like it felt like shit. It felt like crap. So it was hard because like on top of having no boundaries with work at all. So I was already working day and night. And then on top of that, I had this thing that was demanding to be felt, but I kind of kept shoving it away by like, over drinking. And I literally, all I do is work, eat, drink myself to sleep, and then wake up, work, eat, and then drink myself to sleep. I was like that for a solid 2 months.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, I mean, like, you drink so much, you never exercise, obviously you gain weight, right?
Yeah.
After that, I gained weight, and then I looked at the mirror, I'm just like, what the fuck, Joyce? Like, how the heck did you get here? Like, holy shit! Like, what is it? And then like, yeah, and then I start saying all these like very demeaning things to myself in the mirror, and like, and then that was when like, you know what? I'm going to wake up at 5. I'm going to work out first thing in the morning, and then go to work, and then okay, I will have a bit more boundaries with work, and then I will work out a second time in the evening. That was like, that was like my life for like a month. And then because of how intense, like so each session I also measure my calories burnt. So like each session I make sure that I hit at least 300 to 400 calories. It's mad, I tell you. Like I mean, like, I came out quite fit lah, but it's mad unhealthy.
What were you training for?
I don't know, man. It's like, you're running running on treadmill, you're running nowhere. And then like all I do is like I look in the mirror, it's like, yeah, got line.
Got line, the middle part.
Yeah, got line.
That's it.
That's it. Like literally, there's nothing else. And that was very, very, very like bad. And like that's terrible for me. So like, but I'm really thankful that instead of self-harming, I was self-harming in a healthier way. I was coping in a healthier way.
Right.
But then that also fed into the whole like, Joyce, if you're not working out, you're not worth it. So like if you're not pushing yourself like that, you are not good enough. Like for me, like for you, it's like your core belief is always like, if I don't work hard enough, I won't be chosen. For me, it's like, if I don't push myself enough, if I don't push myself to breaking point, I will never be enough.
Yeah.
So that is how I've been working, and obviously like that took a toll on my mental health lah. So like at that point, that was when I started having like terrible suicidal thoughts, and actually like suicidal thoughts has been there with like my stresses at work and things like that. But that was when it was very bad. Like when we were able to cross districts, and every time I got on the road, every time I see like a big truck, I would just have this impulse of driving in front of the truck and just be crashed. And that was when it scared me, just like, holy heck, Joyce, like you won't jump off a building, even though I've actually fantasized myself falling off a building before. You won't cut yourself because it's just so ugly. And I've actually researched on ways to die. And it's just all just like very, very messy. And like my logic is just that no one wants to clean that up. I don't want to traumatize another person. So that is the only reason that's holding me back from doing whatever stupid shit lah. But that was how I would say God used my somewhat healthy coping mechanisms to bring out those core wounds, like those wounds that happen deep inside from my childhood, like from things of like Joyce, you're never pretty enough, you're never good enough, you're not skinny enough. If you're too loud, nobody will want you. So like one of the turning points for me was like my current mentor, where he just told me that, Joyce, you look in the mirror, just say something positive and watch how your body reacts. So that was when I started saying, like I started experimenting. I look into the mirror and I just said like, Joyce, you're beautiful. And the discomfort is real. Like I can feel it inside here, where like I just want to like
cringe into a ball and just like
who are you lying to? Like, like Joyce, even you don't have abs, you are still strong and healthy, and you're worth it. And just like, just like, and like, Joyce, you're actually very smart and very beautiful. I'm just like, what is this discomfort? Like, So that's when I realized that I have such unhealthy core beliefs. And that was when I started repeating myself, speaking affirmations over myself. and bringing it back to I mean, for me, faith is a huge part of my life. So bringing it back to what my self identity is based on my faith, and then just kind of like replace it over time. And
Mm.
I'm still a long way off from being the optimal self where there is zero self rejection,
Yeah.
but I've definitely come a long way.
Yeah. I feel like we're in a phase where, we're able to catch ourselves with those negative thoughts now, like, oh, Joyce is gone. Anyways, while we wait for Joyce to reconnect, guys, um, a little funny story about me and Joyce. I think we were in I think we were in music class. I remember um, being 8 years old at that time, 8 or 9 years old, and um, we were always because of our love for singing. Joyce is an amazing singer, by the way, guys. So I think she was always very loud and loud and vocal. So was I. Sorry, Joyce. I was in the middle of telling a story about music class. I remember
Okay,
this one
okay.
very clearly, and you can tell me if I remember this correctly. Like, we would always, both of us would always be the loudest singer in class because we have to sing solfege. We have to hold the book and just sing out loud.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
So like I remember like Teacher Vicky had to put, yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
I don't
Yeah.
know why. Okay. Okay. So I remember Teacher Vicky, but Teacher Vicky is the
Okay.
name of our teacher. She had to put us on opposite ends. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Back? Are we back? Like test? Hello. Okay.
That is working from home, meeting, things like that. Hello, can you hear me? Hey, you like Oh no.
Yeah,
Now
yeah, yeah. Okay, please phone pula. Laptop don't die on me.
okay.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
there we go.
So, yeah, we had to sing. We had to sing and everything. And I remember you were like the superstar of like the school. Like every special like during concerts at the mall, like during special items, you'd be the one with like with like the one more additional item that is apart from the class, like every class will have to have an item, and then like you'll be with another group with like performing, and I'll always be just like, well, I'll never be like her. I'm sick. Just like I just want another one. Just can't. Just like
You
damn
have to
it.
understand, babe. That was the only thing I had in my life, even until now.
Yeah,
you
I mean
know,
like
yeah.
yeah. So like this is for me. It's always like always comparing with like someone else. Just like
Mm,
why am I not like that? Why am I like that? Why am I like
mm,
that? And why am I not like that without seeing what's on the other side? So
mm,
so yeah, I think also like primary school, like being in a Chinese primary school, it's
oh,
very freaking toxic for us as well because it literally pitches us like it pitches students like Hunger Games against one another.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
I remember.
you have before you are able to be qualified in this class, things like that. And there is merits to meritocracy, but I
Mm,
think I think the way it's done and the way some of the teachers have done it,
yeah,
it's just very destructive for
yeah,
students where where things like like small mistakes
yeah,
mistakes call for totally disproportionate punishment.
yeah,
And I think that's just how a lot of like the Asian education is like, right?
Yeah.
like tiny mistakes is intolerable.
Yeah.
So that is also something that I have to really work on, and like just go like, like that is the best that I could do. I am already pushing myself, and I know I'm about to break. So like something that I have to pull on myself, just like I have to like pull on my brakes, because if not, I can do it, but at what expense though?
Right. Right.
So I think a lot of people, like some people, they may not understand it. It's like you can go somewhere, why you don't want to go? But on the flip side, it's like a lot of people see is that I'm about to go crazy. I'm already
Yeah.
coping with everything that I can, and I'm already really, really I'm already really trying. Just give me a
Yeah.
break, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes the world doesn't stop like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a privilege for me to be able to pull the stops. So
Yeah.
like that's why like, if you can, if it's a luxury that you have, please do it, so that you don't explode on people that don't have the choice.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there are people out there who generally do not have the choice, and generally it is who have a certain level of privilege, who holds
Yeah.
the who holds power and authority over these people. And this
Yeah.
and the I mean, like, it is capitalism. We are in a system of capitalism, right? And oftentimes it's the people in the B40 that do not have the choice but to put their mental health aside and just like, I need to survive right now.
Yeah.
So that's
There.
why like it's very important for people who have the privilege to not be safe drivers lah. To be coaches, to push whenever they can, but to apply some grace and some, so that it doesn't push people off the edge.
Yeah. Definitely. And um, it, for the longest time, I don't know if you have the same or similar experience. Like, it's like when jobs come in, you're like, yes, 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 everything, because I feel validated. I feel like, like people trust me with their work. So whatever that comes in, yes, 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 yes. And then I didn't know when to take a break. And then after 1 year of working nonstop, I finally understood the meaning of burnout. So yeah, and for to feel I in order to avoid feeling burnout again, I'm very conscious of taking breaks, having a day off regardless, no matter what. If I don't feel like doing it, and if I feel like I cannot give it 100%, I won't do it. Does this mean that I'll have less income? Yeah, maybe, but it's um at least I feel like I can go to bed with myself at the end of the day, right? I feel like I can take care of my own self. I feel like I can, you know. So yeah, but anyways, I'm very curious, like, where do you think our core beliefs came from as a child? At what age do you think our core beliefs solidified, and because the inner negative narrative that we keep telling ourselves, right? Like, you're not enough, you're not good enough. Even when you say, oh, you look kind of you look good today, like when we look in the mirror, like we feel it for like a very quick second, and then it just like, ugh, you'll never be as pretty as other girls, or you'll never be as good as other people, or as capable or as talented, right? So where do you think that core belief, you know kind of solidified for you?
For me, I'm
Yeah.
not very sure, but
Yeah.
it's definitely at pivotal years of my life. So like based on like developmental psychology, when you are from 0 to 5, it's a certain it's basically like your belonging, your sense of belonging and love and stability. That's when it's formed. And then from 6 to 12, that's when like your socialization skills kind of
Mm.
kind of forms. And then from 12 to 17, 18, that's when your social status, like where you find your place in the world, is formed.
Ah,
beyond that, that's like your achievements, your purpose. And then when you're 30, 40, and then like basically at during your developmental years, that is when your identity is formed, your core beliefs. So I believe that during the different stages of your formative years, different things form. So like for me, when I was like from 0 to 5, that's when I feel I don't really remember what happened then. I think I was fairly happy at the time, but like from 6 to 12, that was when a lot of trauma started to happen. And then like one traumatic incident after another, that is when you kind of make promises, like mini promises to yourself, just like, okay, when something happens to you and it's like, I'll never speak to, let's say if okay, a very good example of this is like my grandmother, who was very traumatized by the Japanese occupation, herself that I will never consider myself a Japanese person. So like, so it's promises like that you say to yourself. So like throughout my growing up years, it's things like, if I'm not like, now I've learned that if I'm not skinny enough, I will never be accepted. I will never be considered good. Or like when I was 12, I remember. Yes, when I was 12, that was when I realized that all my friends are unreliable and I shouldn't trust my friends. Because like I basically had a birthday party. I invited the whole class, nobody showed up. that was when like, wow, I was damn sad. And it was just like, yeah, I can't trust my friends. Then and then like when
But that's actually a big
school,
deal.
yeah, it is a big deal. But like, and it's even I'm very thankful that my parents, they do somewhat validate my feelings. So on that end, I'm actually very fortunate. But there are some people who grew up in environments where like they have to minimize the feeling. Like, no, feeling is a weakness. So that is another core belief that is ingrained in other people, you know? So like, so for me, like thankfully I have some core beliefs that allow me to deal with my other core beliefs. And I think that's all of us, right? We are dealt with like a set of cards. So like it is what you do with your cards lah, you know? It's not about like, when I was growing up, I was like that, then like that lah. My life is just like that, tak dia.
Tak dia.
Like, it's my fate to be like that. Like, and then I'm just like, okay lah, then my life, okay, I surrender to my life, and then I'll fix it with feng shui. And I'm just like, girl.
But the thing is, so many people are like that.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I felt like I had no control over my life as well. And that was it, you know, like that's when like, okay, whatever happens now. I'll just, you know, enjoy the ride while it lasts, you know. But I mean, there is some truth to that, you know, you cannot control every aspect of your life, but
you do have a sense of agency. So like what I realize a lot of people do, even myself, is that you tend to see things as like black and white. There's in extremes, when really the world is a whole blend of grays. Where and
shades of
maybe that's why people are so fucked up, right? but
you went there.
It was just there. I had to take the opportunity. The truth is there are seemingly contradictory truths in life. So it's wisdom to apply. It is wisdom to know when to apply which. So yes, you cannot control what happens to your life, but at the same time, you can control how you react. You can choose the next step of what you want to do in response to this, like to whatever situation. So instead of say in the working world, you have this difficult person or like this problem that crop out of nowhere. And then just like I used to just fall into this paralysis of like, oh no, everything that I've planned has fallen apart. Oh no, let me just like revel in this like pain and just cry and literally I really don't know how to manage it.
Mm.
But I've also eventually learned that, you know what, like shit happens lah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, shit happens, you
yeah,
just move on. And
yeah,
for some people, it's very easy. That's a simple truth.
yeah,
But for you and I, where like basically our life is planned out,
yeah,
everything has gone to plan, and like where no diversion of plan is allowed, we do not know how to handle like
yeah,
curveballs, right?
yeah,
So that is also where I've also had to learn to give myself grace, where like, okay,
yeah,
I wasn't equipped with that in my childhood, and that's
mm,
something that I have to teach myself now,
yeah,
and that's okay, you know. And for some people, they beat themselves up for like, yeah, my parents never taught me how to manage my finances, and then
mm,
they just go into like this cycle of like blaming parents,
yeah,
blaming everyone else, blaming the school. That's like, oh,
mm.
Malaysia education system, they don't teach about money. It's like, hello, you got Google, you got brain, you got fingers, you got money.
Now,
Please go and educate myself. Please go and educate yourself, lah.
yourself. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and like, and and that is the state of things, right? Like
mm,
we are we are not that child anymore who relies on spoon feeding, and we have to realize and accept the fact that I am my own person now. I get to make my own choices. This
yes,
life is my story,
yeah,
and I do play a part in crafting part of it. And like,
yeah,
yes, the rest of it I can surrender it to God, and ultimately the outcome is all in God's hands. But I can play my own part, and I will play my part to the best I can. It's like a play, you know, like
yeah,
it's a performance in like an orchestra. You can prepare the best. The best you can do is just to prepare your part. You can practice your
yeah,
part. Make sure that your instrument is the most taken care of. Making sure that everything is in tune. But you cannot control what's happening in the AV room. You cannot control what the other player is going to play. What you can
yeah,
do is just to play your part,
yep.
right?
Play
And
your
that's
part. Make sure you are healthy enough to be able to play your part as well.
yeah. And where you're not able to learn to give yourself grace and know that you are becoming better.
Yeah.
And that is and that I realize is the only way to live lah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's gonna look like in the future, but
Mm-hmm.
as of this point,
Yeah.
that is how I realize is the only way to live without beating yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like even though sometimes like I beat myself up for beating myself up, just like, oh, inception.
Yeah.
Ooh, inception, Vogue. but,
Yeah.
but
I understand what you're
and
saying.
yeah, and you are in a journey to learn to not beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And you said one less mean thing to yourself today. Yay,
Yeah.
that's a victory. Celebrate that.
Yes. Yes. Little milestones instead of like big. I mean, of course, the big goals, your ambition, all of those things. Like if it, it's something for me, I view it as a kind of motivation to get up every day to do, and like, hey, I'm one step closer, one day closer to my dreams or my goals and whatever.
Mm,
But it
mm.
cannot be the end all be all. Like if I don't achieve it,
Yeah.
or if I achieve it, then I'll be happy. If I don't achieve it, I'll be forever sad, like cry alone, that kind of sad. No, like for me,
Mm,
it's like, okay, what did I do today? Did I um because for me personally, I used to have the dream of like when I was coming back from the States, I was like, I want to build like a second Yamaha in Malaysia. I want to have franchise. I want to put my own name there. I want to, be a boss lady. I want to write a new music curriculum, blah, 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 blah. But then it made me realize that eh, while I was chasing it and while I was planning for it, one, to do all of those things, we need a lot of money, right? And number two, it made me question myself, like looking at all of these obstacles. It made me question my own goals and my dreams. Are they actually realistic? And also, why do I want to have those goals? What is it for? Is it to make a lot of money? Is it to what? Why do I have to be better than Yamaha, or why do I have to, you know, uh, uh, you am I making sense so far?
yeah, I totally
Yeah,
get it. There's nothing wrong with how your dreams are like.
yeah,
It's more of what is the fuel that led to those dreams. Like, do you
mm,
do you understand the why behind your dreams? Because
Yeah.
like I know for me, I have like this huge dream. So I actually have it here. I still have it here on my
Please
on
show.
yes on my vision board. So like okay, so I have this dream that I want
Go
to
closer, closer.
can everyone see? So like I want
There
to
we
be
go.
in Forbes 30 under 30 across
Mhm.
two categories. And like I don't know why I put myself like one getting on one is hard enough across two categories. Like talk about having high expectations, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
but eventually I kind of put a stopper on that dream because I realized that all I wanted like all I wanted out of that is really just recognition. So
Ah,
like a very important thing with setting goals to yourself is like once you have that, like imagine yourself having that goal, what's next? And
yeah,
if you cannot answer that what's next, right? Then I
yeah,
think you should give more thought to that goal. Just like
yeah,
what about that goal that makes it so important that you would give your day and night to it? Because reaching a goal requires you to do that. But if the why behind the what is something that is not valuable in the long run, or it's something that is as ephemeral as, oh, I have this thing on my name, lor. It's just like
yeah,
for some people that is a huge thing, but for me, I've learned right now that I have better things to do in life. I have more important
yeah,
things to do in my life, and like my values
yeah,
are in are in more are in things that I feel are more eternal, right? Like
yeah,
my
yeah,
family, faith, investing in people, investing into
yeah,
people, building my community up. Those are things that are
yeah.
important to me. But
Right.
but doing whatever it is, doing whatever it is to for the sole purpose of reaching
Purpose.
that goal. Yeah, for the sole purpose of reaching this Forbes 30 under 30, then that was when I realized that what I want is just a piece of paper.
Mm,
So then I realized that okay, this goal is not important. Even though it's very glamorous goal, it's amazing. I'm gonna put it away. And
yeah.
that was like a huge moment. Like I actually had to cry over it. Just like I'm gonna kill this dream.
Right, right, right. Because it's something
Yeah.
that you've been looking forward to for so long and something
More,
that
for
you
most of my educational life.
right, right. And then to it and it's okay to grieve over, like something that you don't want to achieve anymore, something that you have to let go, or a thought that you
Yeah.
have to let go, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I think I just want to say that it's totally normal to grieve over something that you used to think is yourself. And it's okay to step out of that shell and become something else. Because like that is how you grow, ma. Like your vision that you had from like the vision that you had when you were 15
Yeah.
is it looks like this. Looks like shape A. But then
Yeah.
as you progress in life, as you go on ahead, things things really look slightly differently. And for some
Yeah.
people, they have like this tunnel vision and like they actually can achieve it. But for
Yeah.
most of us, it's really like our goals are ever evolving because like
Yeah.
we are growing and our priorities change, our values change, and like
Yeah.
life-changing events happen, transitions happen,
Yeah.
and we just have to change like that's why like now I currently subscribe to this mindset called the growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Basically where basically you just view everything as just an experiment.
Yeah.
Like just build a prototype. Like if you want to do this, okay, let's go ahead and build a prototype. If it
Yeah.
works out, let's develop it even more.
Yeah.
And like if you wanna go ahead and try something that you've completely never done before, okay, it's very uncomfortable, but it is possible
Yeah.
because like with adequate effort, with adequate investment, you can do it. You
Yeah.
actually can.
Yeah.
So it actually takes away the pressure of like I have to be 100% perfect in this because like a lot of times and like with this hustle culture, like, we go off this very weird tangent of like all of my hobbies have to make me money. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, is money really the final end all be all for all of us?
Yeah.
Like what happened to hobbies? Hobbies essentially are things that you like to do, your eye right? Like it's
Yes.
all about passion. And a lot of people end up because they turn their hobbies into
Jobs.
like into like basically secondary job. I mean, like if that worked out for you, so totally, totally fine. But for some people, they just put this pressure of like, oh, I started doing calligraphy, I have to end up selling calligraphy, or like,
Mm,
you know, and
yeah.
and it ends up becoming into this weird spiral of 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 if I have to do something, it has to be productive for me.
Right, right.
When like
It
it
has to have a
becomes
certain reward.
yeah, I mean like
Right.
everything that you do has to have reward. It has to be rewarding
Yeah.
to you in a certain way. But not
Right.
everything not everything has to be monetary lah. You know,
Yes. Yes.
you can like the reward can simply be I had a cathartic moment expressing myself.
Yeah.
You know, and that is
Yeah.
so important. And a lot of times we just end up putting stops on our emotions because we have to work, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like working, and especially working in in actually working in general, you just kind of have to put the stops on like your emotions, because if not you just bleed into everything.
Right,
But
right, right.
a lot of times we just end up going one after another, one after another, one after another, one after another for
Yeah.
so many years. To a
Yeah.
point it becomes a build up. And then when one small thing triggers, boom, that's when meltdowns happen. That's when
Domino
people
effect.
that's when people end up doing crazy things to themselves, or
Yeah.
like people, or like in a more extreme case like midlife crisis,
Yeah.
quarter
Oh
life
my
crisis,
God.
where
Tell
people
me
just go
about
big,
it.
you know. So that's why like it's everything. It's everything in moderation. How you manage yourself, how you basically see your achievements, the fruits of your hands, um, and yeah, there's no right and wrong. There's no yes or no. And
Yeah.
like what I said just, it's not black and white. It's a gray world.
Yeah.
But I think I would correct that by saying that we live in a world where a lot of answers, most of the times, the answer to things is yes and no.
Yeah.
So we just have to really assess the heart of the situation, right? How
Mm,
does it affect us? Number one, what is our motivation of doing it?
mm,
And a lot of times, if it's because of external pressures, I think
mm.
that the thing that you have to say to yourself is like, is their opinion worth it, or are
Mm.
you going to be, or are you gonna learn to cordially draw boundaries?
Yeah. Yeah. When was the time where you knew you had to build some boundaries for yourself?
Oh, recently.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And what was
yeah.
the incident that that caused you to,
Okay,
like, hey.
the trigger point was that personally I'm a highly empathetic person.
Mm,
I can speak to someone, and like if they share a very sad story, I can cry with them one. And
mm,
that's when I realized that I have no emotional boundaries with other people, and as a result of that, if someone who is more assertive put more pressure on me, I
yeah.
would I wouldn't know
You
how to
don't know
say
how to
no.
say no.
I don't know how to say no. I actually don't know how to say no. And
Yeah.
and I have to and and like it's almost like I hate myself for doing it, but I would just have to go ahead with what the person says, because like either like the person is like a boss or like a colleague. It like basically become a people pleaser.
Mm,
And then that's when it really started to take a toll on me. That's why like I was working day and night, and a lot of times I ask myself like, yo, I'm working like 16 hours a day
mm,
for X amount of weeks. What am I doing with my life? But then like I was just in this spiral of of I don't want to do this, but I'm doing this. I hate myself for doing this, but I'm still doing it.
mm,
And that's when like first I realized that I have to draw boundaries with my work.
yeah.
Like yes, I have to work hard for my dreams. But I've also kind of reframed that as like I will only work hard for I will only work hard in something that is in alignment with my ultimate goal.
Mm, mm,
And and the second one is like with people, I just have to learn to learn to say no to some people, like if not, you just be an emotional dumping ground.
Yeah.
And it's mad lah, and a lot of times when people dump stuff on you, and you can only help them to a certain extent, but a lot of times when people dump on you, they don't actually want help. So
Yeah.
I've also learned to be quite firm in assessing and in expressing that, if you don't want to help, I'm happy to listen to you, but I only have a limited amount of time and emotional capacity to give to you.
Yeah.
And if you want help, I can give you mental health resources. I can give you my therapist number, the contact of my coach and things like that. But I really am not cut out for this. I cannot be the best help. And then if they get offended, they get offended lah.
Yeah.
So that leads me to, like, if people reject me, I learn to not take it personally. Like I don't reject myself over someone else rejecting me.
Yeah. That's so
Like,
important, isn't it?
it is because if not like when every time bosses say like, hey, what's this? Like, this is not up to my standards. Wow, last time we just be like, oh, my
Full of
life.
shit.
Yeah, no, I don't play shit. It's like my life literally crumbles, and I'm like, I have to work for additional 5 hours to ensure that nobody should correct me. I have to be perfect so that no one can find any fault in me, and I will be good and perfect. And then like, and that is basically it's a vicious cycle of, like, if someone else comes in the picture that someone gives compliment to, and I'm just like, I'm a, and it's very toxic, right? Yeah. So
Definitely.
lastly, like, it's also to draw boundaries for my worth. It's like who I am and what I do. So are two different things, and that my work is not my worth.
Yeah.
So like drawing boundaries around your values, that is also very important, because like that also determines the kind of people that you let in.
Letting in. Yes.
Yeah. And as performers, like, life is really a stage for us.
Yes.
We really bring our best self to this stage that we're at, right?
Yeah.
And with each life stage, it's a different act. It's a different tone. Sometimes, like, it's completely different chord progression. It sounds different. It looks different. We look different.
Yeah.
And but what really stays constant are the people in the backstage.
Oh yeah.
So that is when I realized that I have to be very picky of, like, who my backstage people are.
Yes.
And so, like, all the different things that I just mentioned, right? All ultimately leads to who is in your backstage. Because in order for you to be the same person in the backstage and the front stage, you need to have a support system. You need to have people who align with you, who can speak for you when you can't speak for yourself, and especially when you cannot speak to yourself.
Oh yes.
And that's how I end up drawing boundaries. So, like, boundaries isn't just about items, things, and, like, qualities of how people are, but rather it's the essence of who the individual is that I allow in. So, like, one of the things that I've learned is, like, in the inner circle I have myself, and then in my closest inner circle I have me and God and the will of God. That's it. And then in the second layer I have people who are more intimate to me, like, so basically, people who
Family.
my family. And but then that also depends for some people, right? For some people, their family is toxic, and so they have to be like, sorry, I have to put you out there a bit.
Right.
So, like, people, basically people who you give them the authority to speak into you. So whether they speak into you to build up or tear down, that's your choice to let them in.
So true. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's like even with a romantic partner, sometimes it really depends on who they are, how you select them, how they align with your goals. So, like, some people, you really have to. It's not a status of life thing, but rather a quality of what they bring into your life.
Definitely.
And if in some cases, those people have to like the status of those people have to change. It's just a natural progression of you placing them appropriately in your boundaries.
Yeah, and I feel like we now that we know, what works for us, what doesn't, right? Like, and we have the obligation, we have the responsibility to teach other people how to treat us, you know. In it doesn't our family members, our friends, and especially our romantic partners, like from the get-go, now that we know what works for us, what doesn't, like, because otherwise how would they know, right? And then we will think that, oh, this person's not good for us, that person, well, they, first of all, they cannot read your minds. Second of all, you didn't take the responsibility for yourself, so how can you expect other people to take responsibility on how to treat you, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah,
think it's also very important to note that, and to do that, you really need to have a level of self awareness. That
definitely.
in on if not, you just be that person that just like, oh, this person is wrong, that person is wrong, this person is wrong, and like this person
Then
offend
we
me.
blame
Then,
everybody.
yeah, you blame everybody, and because you say like, oh, I'm setting boundaries, then you end up isolating yourself.
Yeah, and then
Isolation,
that's not boundaries
isolation is
anymore,
when,
those are wall.
yes, yes, you are basically like a lot of people build themselves, and like they live in a world where it's basically mini jails for themselves because like, oh, this person hurt me, so like
Yeah,
I'm gonna put them out there, and then ooh, wall up. You
yeah,
know, that's why like you need to have a level of self-awareness of, and to communicate, you need to communicate clearly, just like when you are hurting,
yeah,
what hurt, how is it hurting, what is the thing that triggered that the other person did that triggered you to feel that way.
yeah,
And then like, what do you feel about that person at the moment, what is your choice to feel about the person at the moment. And
yeah,
these are very important things, these are very important questions to ask in relation to yourself, you know.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
like for me, I had to deal with a lot of self-condemnation of like, then I have to ask myself, like, what have I done that made me hate myself so much?
Mm,
um what is the commitment that I've made to myself that I want to bring forward into the future? What
yeah,
are the things that I do not want
yeah.
in this incident within myself that I do not want in the future?
Mm-hmm.
So it's also things like that. So like, to have healthy relationship with other people, you first need to have a healthy relationship with
With
yourself.
yourself. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what were some of the steps that you took to start having a healthy relationship with yourself? How does that look like? Because I remember for me, like, it wasn't because of anything else. Like, I remembered coming back home and knowing that, okay, I have to work hard to achieve my goals, and because I have to teach, so I want to be a good teacher, and I want to be the kind of teacher that, at the end of the day, it's all about impact. We still remember our teachers from when we were younger, isn't it? And that we will
Yeah.
continue remembering our teachers until the day we die. So, like it or not, I have to put my best foot forward out there. So in order for me to put my best foot forward, with my students, for my students, I have to take care of my here and also my health, so that I don't overspill my burdens or my traumas, or things that nobody asked for, on my students
Mm.
who are paying me to have a good experience,
Yeah.
right? So that was
Yeah.
what made me, like, hey, you gotta get your shit together. Let's
Mm.
work on here, and then we'll see where this goes. And then, so far so good. Like, the more I learn, the more I realize that I have so much more to learn.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think like for lack of a better word, it's a framework that
Um,
I've learned, is to identify, like, is something a surface symptom?
mhm.
Is it a surface problem? And then is it
Mm,
a inside symptom, or is it a core problem? So like for me, like, I'm just gonna walk you through something that I've worked out
yes,
of, right? So
please. Yeah.
it's like, for me, at the core, there's this core belief of like, I will never be good enough.
Mhm.
And then the symptoms come out as overachieving, like this drive to push myself and like being very hard on myself. So that's a core symptom. And then how it looks like on the surface is like I will overcompensate by being I by putting myself in very awkward situations where I would like in in places where basically I'm just like odd one out lah. So there's nothing wrong with that. So like, it's what looks like on the outside, but it's things like saying very weird, mean things to people, being jealous of other people. So that's a surface problem. And then like surface symptom would be like irritability, bitchiness. So like
Very standoffish.
yeah. So that's why so that also kind of helped me interact with difficult people. So when I interact with different people, that like if they behave in a certain way, then I'm go like, okay, so that is a surface symptom that I'm seeing. Like from my interaction with them, I may know what their surface problem is, and then if I do have a deeper relationship with them, I probably would know what their core symptom, like inside symptom is.
Yeah.
Then it is their job to basically work down into their core problem. So it's basically like onion, like layer by layer. So like a recent friend of mine actually that I'm very grateful for. Actually, a lot of my friends that I'm very grateful for is that they see me beyond my onionness. Yeah, and I think to do that you need to first see yourself despite of your onionness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also
despite of our onionness. I love it.
Like because like onion, it smells and makes you cry. So
yes. Tell me about it.
Oh, but you put it in olive oil. Wow, the whole kitchen smells damn good.
Put it in the oven some more. Gautim.
Oh, girl, that's a whole ass meal.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So yeah, like it's small things like that you slowly discover about who you are, how you interact with the world, and then that is how you work through everything one by one lah. And obviously it's something that takes time and you will mess up, but what's really important is what you do during those mess up moments, because it is in the mess up moments that you identify where the holes are. And that is that instead of seeing those times as like I completely mess up and I should die, you look at those moments as you look at those moments as like, oh, this is a great opportunity for me. I finally found where the wound is.
Yeah.
This is, and I can reinforce those places so that it can become stronger. Yeah.
That's so nice. So wholesome. Okay, so let me quick question. Actually, not quick question. Such a loaded question. Why what would you say drew you to entrepreneurship? We're there.
Yeah, so this is exactly why I said that like I don't think I'm the best person to talk about this, because I am still on the journey into transitioning into it. What drew me into it is that I always felt like every time I work in a job, I would say that in most of my jobs I generally excel in them. But after a certain period of time,
girl.
I try. And I just, after a certain period of time, I just feel like my wings feel so clipped and I feel very trapped, and eventually it will become like such a frustration. But on the other end, I also feel like I cannot step out, because like if I step out, it's like it goes against how I was raised. I was raised in an environment to be very obedient. Basically, like our education system and all, like it raises us to be very good employees.
Yes.
So like it's
We're
like
peeps.
yeah. and it's like if no one tells you what to do, if no one draws the scope for you, you cannot function. And that
Yes.
was how I was. That's why, like, for the longest time, I really just couldn't step out of it. And even right now, there are still times where like I feel like I'm a sheep that's just like trying, like learning to walk. And have you seen giraffes giving birth? Like
And then
yeah, like that, yeah, like that. That's me. That's me.
it's okay, girl. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I finally decided to do it because like if I don't make the commitment to myself, I will never
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
And
If not
I
now, when?
yeah, and I keep telling to myself that logically at your 20s, the cost of your failure is really the lowest,
Yes.
right? Like at this point you have no mouths to feed.
Yeah.
You have I mean, it's granted it's a privilege for me to say this, that I don't need to support my family.
Yeah.
I don't have dependents on me, and like I don't have, and I'm also very fortunate to be debt free.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm just like, really, Joyce, like the world is right for you. Why are you not moving yet?
Yeah.
And that was when I realized that I have a lot, like all the different core values, core beliefs that I had
Ah.
that couldn't move, but incrementally, lor. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely not the type that dives straight into entrepreneurship. People that know me know that I'm generally a bold person, but when it comes to money and things like that,
Right.
oh, I'm terrified because I also have this core belief that I cannot be poor. If I'm poor, it means that I'm useless.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is also something that I actually just discovered like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's a constant discovery journey, right?
Right.
Where yeah, if you don't have employment is a form employment is stability. That is also a core belief.
Yeah.
So those are some things that I have to unwind out of my system
Yeah.
and just go like, what's wrong with making mistakes? Oh, and yeah, what's wrong with making mistakes? Like if I fall flat on my face, okay lor, I fall flat on my face lor.
Yeah.
It's the end all be all, and like money can be made back. So like these are things that I keep telling myself.
Right.
So like that's why like I don't think I can. Yeah, I don't think I'm qualified to talk about this at all because and the most that I can say is just like, yo, girl, like if you're thinking about going into entrepreneurship, I know, girl, I feel you. I feel the indecisiveness. I feel the scare. I feel the scaredness, y'all. I feel the. I mean, you're just looking like you've been looking at the food in the fridge and just be like, if I quit my job and if this don't take off, I ain't got no salad in my fridge. Like that is literally, yo, salad's expensive, yo. So
Tell me about it. Yeah.
so I mean, like I can say like
Yeah.
we're all kindred spirit, and
Yes.
you again, like it goes back to like who do you let into your backstage?
Yeah.
Other people in your backstage are supporting you towards this goal in entrepreneurship or not. What are they saying subtly to you in the background, like and if those are discouragement, just value, like if you get discouraging words from people, evaluate low, like where is the heart of that person in speaking to you. And then also again it goes back to like what is the commitment that you have to yourself, to the other person, and also to your dream.
Yeah.
What are you willing to do to keep that commitment and things like that. So yeah, I am taking very tiny steps. It is, and at some points it is very painful, it is very uncomfortable, but if you don't do it, you can be employed lah, but you will never have something that you own, no?
Yeah, definitely. So that honestly, that was my, and I mean, congratulations for taking the small steps, small but sure steps, and I really admire your ability to have discernment over, monetary things, like especially uh financial stuff, like when I first got into this, like I was like, okay, I don't know what I actually didn't know what entrepreneurship is until like very recently, like maybe like the last 2 years. All I knew was when I came back, I was like, uh, I'm not gonna do well if someone employs me. Like I'm gonna be a terrible employee and they're gonna hate me and I'm gonna hate my boss. So let me not work under anybody and try doing and starting things for myself by myself and see how far I can go. Right. So and I realized that um me not wanting, like I completely feel you when you said that your wings felt clipped, like you couldn't express yourself, like a lot of things are not as flexible. For me, there are pros and cons with having time flexibility, having but at the same time there are also a lot of like responsibilities, like you have to pay taxes, you have to uh um uh do your own accounting, you have to go to SSM and do all of those like registration stuff, and all of these things, like you can blame the school, and you can blame English, you can blame the school system for not teaching you when we were younger, but at the same time it's like, oh, this is a fantastic opportunity for us to learn, so let's just do it and get it over with, and then at the end of the day, like if you fail, do it, fail spectacularly, and at
Mm,
least you've done it, then
mm,
no regrets,
mm,
right? Getting a job,
mm,
applying for a job, as long as you're skillful, as long as you're whatever, there will always be jobs waiting. But
mm.
having built something from the ground, like having your own baby, that's something that's very close to me lah. Yeah, close to my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I should totally ask you to share your experience as well. Like, what was it like starting your own thing and just going ahead and just executing things?
Blindly. Well, no, like okay, I think to your point, like we were talking about this before also when we were meeting up, like having good mentors are so important. I'm very thankful to have like really good people around me who loves music first and foremost. I think that's the core value that we all share. We love music regardless, right? So when they approached, or when I asked for guidance, they're very very willing to help and support me, and uh, surrounding yourself with who's there in your backstage, telling you words of encouragement, or like uh being kind of jaded or not, that kind of thing all plays a huge role, I think. And so far I cannot complain, I really cannot complain, because like during this pandemic, like I have a roof over my head, I have food on the table, and I get to do this and connect with people still, and I get to connect with my students. That's it. Like all of those performances, everything else, those are bonuses already now. So I don't know, like it's an ongoing thing. Like you said, it's very uncomfortable because when you fuck up, like it's on you. It's not on anybody else. You have nobody else to blame.
You cannot blame company politics. You cannot blame that body.
Cannot blame HR, cannot blame this, cannot blame that anymore. And it's such a humbling experience because like for the longest time, um, I've always like, you know, in our childhood, we are told to do what we're told to do lah. Like there's no room for questions. There are no, yeah, just do only follow what you're given. But now it's like it's a blank page every day. What you choose to do
Mm,
with it really depends on how well you know yourself and how well you want, um what is your why lah at the end of the day.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just for me, and I'm still swimming lah, like Dory, just keep swimming. Let's see how far I swim lah. Sink or swim lah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's really the thing for us, lah. And
Yeah.
and yeah, and I think entrepreneurship is definitely a very scary journey. And
But
yeah,
what Sorry.
Well, you're saying.
Um what kind of business or like branding or that kind, like those things that you wanna
I
a
think
little
it's
bit,
still it's
little
still
bit.
it's still too early
Yeah.
to say anything about that. But yeah, it like for me, one of the reasons why I wanted to start my own business was
Oh, oh no. I think with everybody being stuck at home, working from home nowadays, the interwebs is not as stable. So we're gonna wait until Joyce comes back. Let me just take her off for now. All right, put it back. And I really miss being on having face-to-face conversations, because like as much as I love connecting like this and interviewing people like this, I do feel like the detachment from face-to-face interaction. So I'm hoping that we go back to being able to shake hands, being able to say hi, being able to hug each other very, very soon. And for those of you who are at home, um, please take care of yourself, stay healthy, um, pick up a new hobby, work out, get some sort of exercise in, I guess. And if the only thing that to help others, I think we first have to help ourselves. So yeah, hold on. Let me just see what. So Joy said her laptop died again. So we're gonna wait for her until she comes back. But let me know if you guys drop some tips of how you guys are staying sane during these times, and what are the biggest um, challenges or lessons that you've learned so far this year. I think for me, the biggest thing that I've learned past year and a half is that I have my own, uh, I can take care of my own bags, and I have myself to rely on no matter what season we're in. Um, I have myself to take care of my own health. I have myself to uh, make money, do the work that I enjoy doing. I have myself to make sure that I'm healthy and that I'm moving every day. Um, and because I took the time to really take care of myself, to really understand what I need day to day, I'm able to uh, take care and be there for my family and friends. Because if I'm in shambles, and if I'm not where I want to be mentally, I don't think I'd be able to um, support and be there for my family and my friends. And it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel down, and it's okay to feel dejected. I don't think we're being our best nowadays, and it's okay to feel like crap one of these days. But I feel like as long as um, you're true to yourself, you're true to your feelings, and then you know how to manage it, you have the tools to manage it, then we can start giving to other people. All right, so Joyce is back. Enough of my monologue. Welcome back.
Hello, hello. I think my laptop. Hello. Yeah, my laptop is acting up. I have no clue why. But
It's
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah. So
All
as
right.
I was saying,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as I was saying that, yeah. What I wanted to say before everything logged off is that a lot of times we're just in this spiral that we have to do something of great significance. And while that's true to a certain extent, but not every little thing has to be of earth-shattering purpose.
Yeah.
It could just be you taking one step at a time, because like everything that you do in your really but like in the grander scheme of things really just pertains to your character and how you affect the world. And don't like I think when I joined back, you were talking about how we should have the right resources before we help other people. And a lot of times it's really us managing our own resources and to how we can enrich our lives so that we can enrich other people. So while that could sound a bit selfish, a bit like socialists would be like, oh, why do you want to enrich yourself? Just give to the world. Like everything is just out there. But so like actually like it, resources have to come from somewhere. Like so I brain jam a bit because
Yes.
I was wondering if I should go down the route of like socialism basically is using other people's money. Somebody gotta
Right.
still
Right.
make the money,
True.
right? That's why like so that's why like in order for you to basically make impact to the world, you basically need to have your ducks in order. You need to have your resources in order before you go and reach people like and help other people. Like for now, my resources is mainly emotional resources, and that is the capacity that I can help other people with like monetary aid because I do not have the resources. And so
Yeah.
and I think it's the same thing that you step into entrepreneurship. Before you step into doing a business in a certain field or in a certain industry, you need to make sure that you have the right resources for that field, for that industry. And for me, it was also resting in the fact that I will never have the perfect knowledge before I have to start. So again, it's a yes or no tension where like,
Yeah.
yes, you have to step out with information, but at the same time, you still need to have adequate preparation and adequate resources before you venture into the unknown.
Yes. So true. And then it comes back to the whole life thing, like you don't have to wait until you're happy to start living. You have to be,
Yes,
you know?
yes. Nightbird. I
Yeah,
love her
yeah.
so much. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm
Definitely.
gonna start crying now.
Yeah, you just have to be happy enough to take the first step.
Mhm.
And that's my,
Yeah. You,
opinion. Yeah. So
yeah.
last but not least,
I
okay.
think
I don't
yes.
want to take too much, of your time. I want to be quite mindful of your time also. Like, and this is something that I hold quite dear to my heart. I personally don't have the answers for myself yet, and I'm still searching. But we're talking about, not having the choice to choose for ourselves when we were younger. And I definitely feel the effect of it now, at 27. Like, actually, at 22, 23, I start asking questions and things like that. But what was it like for you to grow up in church, and now, with everything being so modernized, so, liberal, and our own bodies, as women and things like that. What does it mean for you to be a modern woman of faith? I'm very curious.
Mm, I think
Mm.
at the core of it, it's for me. I have to remember that in the faith that I subscribe to, which is Christianity, is that my journey is not so much of the things that I do, but rather
Mm.
it is the relationship that I have with God. Rather, it is
Mm.
trust in who He is, and to understand that it is Him that that makes me righteous, that makes me holy, that makes me
Mm.
whatever that I am, and it's not solely based on my work. Yeah,
Mm.
actually, it's not even based on work at all, but rather it is He who empowers me to be able to do what I need to do, including maintaining the quote unquote moral standards that the church has.
Mm.
But actually, the truth is, a lot of times we were raised in an environment where moral standards are imposed on us. Like,
Yeah.
if you like you have to look a certain way, you have to speak a certain way, and honestly, a lot of times I feel like that is quite rubbish. Um, and I've had to go through my own journey of like recognizing recognizing some of the things that are actually rubbish that is actually not in the Bible, but
Yeah.
rather it's man-made rules.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so to be a modern woman of faith is really for me, it's really just constantly go back to the Bible. What does the
Mm.
Bible say? Because like external standards, moral standards, especially with the woke culture, there's a new
Yeah.
topic every single month, right? And if you just go by the whims and fancies of like the media and pop culture and things like that, you will never be grounded. So
Yeah.
to be a faith
Yeah.
actually, it's it is from this groundedness that that um that bears fruits of like self-awareness, love, um charitability,
Yeah.
um like this peace and zen that you have, that and like the kindness that you have for other people, self-control, all these things come out from that. So like for me, becoming a woman, like being a woman of faith in the modern age is really about going back to basics within myself and God. So like again, it goes back to the circles, right? What is the foundation that forms the innermost circle for me? So like so it's going back to like making sure that I have a solid relationship with God,
Mm.
making sure that and then to live my life out of that place
Joy,
and to
so
not
sorry. You
just
got cut off for a little while. Can
yeah.
you repeat what you said just now?
Okay, so like what I was saying
Yeah.
is that it goes back to the circles thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like to be a solid person of faith in this modern day and age, it's really to go back to like what exactly is in like your innermost circle.
Mm.
Is it like for me, I've decided that my innermost circle is going to be God and the Bible,
Mm.
and then it's out of that place that that I flow out and build other things.
Mm.
So
Do
yeah,
you
if you
find strength in and solace in that
yes, of
in
course,
your faith?
of course. I mean,
Ah.
of course. And that is the foundation, right? If not, like I'll just be dumping emotionally on other people, and like that was how I
Ah.
previously lived my life, right? Like every time there's something wrong, and then the first thing that I turn to is to people that's closest to me, and I
Yeah.
realized that that's when I realized that when I let the wrong people into the wrong circle, like for example, at the time I was very codependent on my romantic partner at the time, and then every time
Mm.
there's a problem, I go to like just like everything just dumped. He also has his own
Ah.
thing, and also for various other reasons.
Right.
It became a very unhealthy relationship, and
Mm.
that's when I realized that whatever that's happening inside here should go to God first,
Yeah.
because He is the only one that can sort it out for me. He is the only one that knows me enough to
Mm.
accept it wholly, and
Yeah.
also to give me the resources to manage it, and to also to even sometimes to even just like it's an osmosis. I have this level of like hurt, and he has this level of healing and faith, and when I bring it to
Yeah.
him, it's his levels that come into me,
Yeah. Yeah.
that fills me up. And it is
Mm.
and I can't find that from any other person, because they're human, they're not God. They cannot handle
Yeah.
whatever things that's happening inside, and like a lot of times I don't even know what's happening on the inside, but I know that it's very painful, it's very heavy, it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I've learned to, in all things, really in all things acknowledge God, and to
Yeah.
always go to Him first, to always run to
Mm.
Him first, and then out of that place, so like if I have any questions, okay, run to God first.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. And I love how you put it for yourself and put it for other people as well. And because when you're speaking of your faith and God, you're basing it on your own experience. You're not, you should be this, you should be that. None of that from you. And I really appreciate uh how you put it, and you don't impose. I think the the part of me that was so rebellious against that, I think it's because of, the aunties in church, or like the aunties and uncles in church that I go to. They're like, girl, you have to go to church, you have to da da da. And for me it was like, cool, I would go and I find peace, whatever. But and then I see you in church some kind of way. I see you outside of church and you're a different kind of way. So where's your consistency in words? But I know now that, as we're flawed. None of us is perfect, and I've come
Mm.
to be very gracious. Not gracious, but like understanding of their behaviors and things like that. But it for me, I'm still searching, and I don't know what I'm searching for, but I know that I'm still searching.
Mm.
And to hear you put it that way for yourself, it gives me hope that, like, that you've redefined, your faith for yourself. Something that you grew up with, you've managed to work, uh, incorporate it with the modern day, and how you live today. And I'm very
Mm.
um, curious, and at the same time very happy for you that you found peace
Yeah, I think a
with
lot of times
with yeah.
it's also to not put any other people on a pedestal. I think the biggest problem that the whole faith culture has, right, especially with the Christian culture, is that we put pastors and leaders on a pedestal,
Yeah.
and it's very bad for both ends. One, pastors to people know. Am I
Sorry,
back?
Joyce. Yes, now you're back.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I was saying was that, like, it's very bad for both ends, because the pastors and people, they are expected to be perfect all the time, and as a result, there actually are a lot of pastors who are suffering from mental health issues that no one knows about. And then on the other end, for yourself, it's like your faith is grounded in a mere human, and when your faith is supposed to be grounded in God. That's why a lot of people, because they put their faith in a person, that's why when the person fail, everything crumbles, because the foundation is not, like, you're placing the person where God is supposed to be. So that is something that I've seen for myself, that I also see happening in the grander scheme of grander scheme of things. That's why, like, I'm also very careful to put humans, or like my pastors, or even my mentor that I really really look up to, like a father figure, that he is in a different circle and not in my innermost circle. Yeah.
At least have some detachment, like, okay, bro, you're still kind of human. Okay, I'm gonna keep you there for a while. What I have.
Not just kind of human, like totally human. You're totally
Yeah,
fallible. You will fail.
exactly. But what you and it's a very personal relationship, and it's only something that you know that other people cannot penetrate, no matter how close they are to you, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a really really good chat.
It's been a really good chat. Yes, and I think this is one of the longest that I've done in a while. So before I let you go, I mean, you know, there's so much that I still want to ask, and I really enjoy listening to you speak, and from from 8 years old until now, until from sekolah menengah until now, I'm in awe of the person that you've become. And I love reading your Instagram captions. You're looking at your pictures. They're so inspiring all the time. And I really thank you for doing this. So before I let you go, what are some of the things that you would like to share? Or what are some of the things that I should have asked, but I didn't?
Um, I don't know. I feel like I've just been I hope that whatever that we've talked about has been helpful to
Definitely.
someone out there, and
Yeah.
like and even like especially for you, like you're also every time I see you putting yourself out there, the songs that you've written, the songs that you've put out, you've done things that I want to do, but I never had the courage to. So I do really look up to you as well. But yeah, and I think that the thing that I want to really say here is that life is, as cliche as this is, like life is really a journey, and instead of looking at it as a destination based thing, it's
Yeah.
really it's basically a playground. You're free to craft, you're free to experiment, you're free to try anything,
Yeah.
and like if you fail in something, pick yourself up and go fail, and and also I'm speaking this to myself as well, is to really take the pressure off yourself,
Yeah.
take the pressure off yourself to perform, take the pressure off yourself from not offending people. I think that's something very important, that like, yeah, along the way you will offend people, you will hurt people, but it
Yeah.
goes back to who is in your circle, who are the people that are worth offending, who are the people
Yeah.
who are the relationships that you want to make sure that
Yeah.
you want to protect regardless of the ups and downs. Yeah. So I mean, I'm speaking I'm speaking to myself as I'm speaking to you guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And
And
also,
such a good reminder.
yeah, and also, if you're a Christian, read your Bible, please. Read your Bible and know your Bible.
The church auntie coming out already.
No, it's not church auntie. It's more of like please don't just look at all like the Instagram caption, all the bite-sized 30-second sermons, and take it
Ah.
as like your theology. Please, please.
Mm.
Like, you have your hunger, that's good, but please know what the Bible says about this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
use your own discernment, I guess. Is that fair
Correct. And
to?
make your own choice. Use your own discernment, and also make your own choice. Own your damn choice. Okay.
Yeah,
You
own your damn
else.
choice.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, this pastor asked me to break up with this person. Hello, you chose to break up with that person. To the person that you like. To the person that you want to break up with that person. Own choice. Okay? Your life is your life, not your pastor's life.
True, so true.
Pet peeve. Freaking pet
Amen.
peeve.
And on that note, kids, make good choices and own your choices.
And don't do drugs.
We're the last person to give these kinds of advice. Lah.
Hey, please. That life I try to put behind, although I'm looking at like my bottle of gin staring at me right there, just like, what about you, bro?
It's okay, MCO. You're allowed. But thank you so much for for being here tonight, for sharing your truth, and so 怎么讲啊? So honored to be a friend, and so thankful that we're still connecting, and hopefully after this, we get to do our little thingy that we're supposed to do before MCO hits, and and
Yes.
it's about
Oh
time.
my gosh. Yes, it's about freaking time we did. So yeah.
Then we go for karaoke, whatever lah. And so thank you again,
Oh
and
my god.
hopefully there's a part two, and we could hash out more things, and we could do like kind of like workshop style, who knows. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So yeah, just like if anyone has any questions about, like, or if you disagree with what I have to say. I mean, I'm not looking at the YouTube comments at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, like, if like anyone asks you any questions pertaining to this, I'm happy to take the questions.
I will traffic
I'm
them to
I'm happy
you.
for you to, Yeah, I'm happy for you to slide into my DMs. Happy to chat.
Happy to chat. All right. Okay. So thank you so much. And thank you all
Yeah.
so much for listening, for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation, I know it's a Malayang kind of conversation, lah, but if you enjoyed it, if you find this helpful, do like it, share it, subscribe, and do reach out to Joyce. She's an amazing person and she's very, very insightful. Um, she has so much to share, and no doubt you'll be able to learn a thing or two or three or four from her, for sure, confirm, and you will laugh all the way through it. So thank you all so much for watching, for tuning in, and have a good night. Goodbye.
Bye.